Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Nintendaan to give our early impressions of the Nintendo Switch online app. So let's get started. Alright Don, so we woke up this morning, or you've been awake for a while, it's like 2 p.m. out there, and turns out that the online app has finally gone live. It's no longer just blocked off or anything out like that, and I was surprised that it automatically signed me in, that it knew enough to like, hey, he's around. So it might have been because of Miitomo and Fire Emblem Heroes and all that stuff, but yeah, the online app is now available. We can actually play around with it, specifically the SplatNet 2 app for Splatoon. And just right off the bat, what's your impressions of SplatNet 2?
Individually of the online Switch app, which we'll get into in a little bit, I think that the stuff that they do in the SplatNet side specifically are really cool. You get like special deals on gear, which you then interact with Annie through the app, and you say from, okay, I want to order this. This will be sent to Chum, a character in the game. You get it there, and then you just buy it there. Interestingly, it seems to allow you to buy gear that you also already have, because the first time I bought something with the app, it says from, you know the rules, you can't have two pieces of the same gear, and then it gave me the option to remove one or save in the other, because actually the gear stats that you get are different between the version that you find in the game and you find in the app.
Oh, okay. I did not realize that. I saw some that were blocked off, so I just assumed that I owned those already. But I guess if you do end up buying one they already own, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's just it can only be so up to date, so that I could see that happening, that type of thing. But no, I agree with you. I actually kind of like the SplatNet 2 app. I mean, it's a bunch of stats. It tells you what levels are coming up, what stages are going to be available, when the ranked battle system is going on, and even some idea of how you're doing in the battles themselves. Like it's cool extra stuff. It's not going to attract you. Like, I don't think I'm going to be looking at this all the time to be tracking my stats. But if I'm like hanging out and like, oh, I wonder what's going to be playing soon, I can see myself just booting it up and seeing. Normally I don't care, but again, it's a nice extra bit of fluff, I guess the way I would put it.
For me, it's also like looking back at my stats of my last 50 matches and see what I did right or did what I did wrong. Because you get like in-depth analysis of what actually happened during that match. Like, you get the stats from how you lost or how you won, the gear that you were using, the stage that you were on, all that good stuff. So it actually helps you to make an informed decision about what gear you should use for your next couple of matches, for example, or maybe change up your weapon. So I think that stuff is actually essential to make you a better player.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, I guess I chose why I'm not a better player, because I don't look at that stuff. I'm just there to have fun. So yeah, I can definitely see that helping a lot of people, but the big reason we're here is SplatNet 2 is its own thing. You can decide whether or not you like it. For me, it's a fun little addition, but we actually tested out the chat functionality that's available with the online app, and it's interesting. Like, let's put it this way. The key idea, the key word here is half-baked. What people were worried about with this app seems to be the absolute case of it.
Everything you kind of worried about pre-launch this app, you kind of... Yeah, it came to fruition, actually.
Yeah.
It is the most Nintendo thing ever. And I'm not saying this to say from anything bad in the way of Nintendo, but this app is not really well designed or really well thought through.
Yeah.
And I say this for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's a phone app in 2017. Mm-hmm. And you can't minimize it or do anything outside of being in the app. If you leave the app, even with something small, like pulling down the notification tray, your voice stops.
Yep, you immediately cut out, and nobody else can hear you. You can't hear them. It just cuts out completely. You don't get kicked from the app. You're still going to be in that room. It's just that nobody can actually hear you. And that just seems so backwards, because we were testing out how to like send notifications and like send invites, and what's really cool is that there's 3 options. You can invite from your friend list, you can invite from recently played players, and you can invite from social media. But the problem with the social media one, at least that I've seen so far, is like I wanted to invite people from my Twitter, but it doesn't bring you a list of people that you are friends with on Twitter and have the game. Instead, it basically you send out a tweet with the invite, so everybody can join. So for situations like myself, where I have a lot of followers, if I put that out there, people are going to be banging down the door trying to play, and that's not exactly a good thing. I can't cultivate it in any way. I can't be like, oh, I want to invite this person. Now, I could @ somebody, and that would make it a little bit more useful, but it's still, I don't know, it's not exactly how I imagined it. And you can send an email to somebody, and if they open up in their phone, they can join right away. But it's still, I don't know, it did not click with me, even in just the invite phase, for at least social media sites. The other 2, I think, work great.
Yeah, the other 2 work fine. I think with the problem with social media is it's just a blank statement with just an image and a link. So anybody can invite themselves to that game, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. If you have a small amount of following, it doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, it's a problem that just a few people of us have. If I would put it out there, in no time that room will be full and people will still be banging on that door.
Yeah, exactly. So it just seems a little iffy for the design, because even if you have more than 4 friends, or more than I guess 9 friends, then not all your friends are going to be able to get in there. So I don't know. It just seems a little ill thought out.
And I think, just in general, another thing that I don't really like is that it keeps the screen of your phone on. So with other voice apps, especially on iOS, because we both have an iPhone, it would continue running in the background even if your phone screen is turned off. But here, even if your screen of your phone is off, your audio will cut out.
Yep, it's just on all the time. So you have this screen in the background all the time, like you're not even looking at it, and there it is.
Yeah. So if you are at home, and you're unsure, at least put your phone on a charger, I guess.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the case. It's hard to say how much battery life it drains so far, but it's probably more than it would, just because of the pure fact that it can't go into a sleep mode and still work. So that's a little disappointing, and at least for me personally, another disappointing aspect of it is that it's really only useful in private battles, which is fine for friends and spectating and all that stuff, and you're doing all that stuff. But I kind of was hoping like I'd be able to create a team of 4, and all of us go on to turf war or ranked battle and play that way, and have like this squad that we go on. Now, you believe that we can use it in league battles, though, right?
Yeah, it does say it in the description on Nintendo of America's Q&A page, where it says yes, you can use it in teams or in duos during league battles, and then invite people that way, and then work together in ranked mode through that fashion. The problem is we cannot test that, because you need at least to be B to even access league battle. So it will be a while before we even get to see that.
And there's not enough people that have pre-release copies that are up to even rank 10 right now. So it's a little hard to find. Like, I've got a few matches in, but it's hard to they take a while. And that's the shame of it. So it's really impossible to get up to a B- rank right now for the league battles. Now it also works in Salmon Run, but we can't test out Salmon Run either. But at this point, like, a lot of it just feels like the one thing that is kind of cool is whenever you start a match, and it's a private battle, so you have 2 different sides, the transition to split you up into those sides and just talking to those people is incredibly quick and relatively seamless.
I think that specific element of it is really awesome, and I really wish that different apps that support like games would do something like that, where you can instantly split it into teams. And I think that is where Nintendo shines with this thing. but it's boggled down by so many other different issues that you kind of wonder if it makes up for all of it.
Yeah, it really... I don't think it does. I mean, there's too many other issues along with it, and yeah, as of right now, I just don't. Like I said, I just think it's half-baked. There's some really good ideas in here, but for the most part, I think if you're going to be playing with friends, you're likely just going to continue to use Discord, Skype, whatever have you, for these situations, and it might foster a community. Like I said, the idea of being able to invite people that you recently played with. That's a cool idea. That's a great way of making new friends. And like, hey, I really enjoyed playing with this person. I want to play with them again in this private battle with my other friends. Hey, I'll send you an invite, and up to you whether you wanted to come or not and play together in this private setting. That idea, that concept is really cool.
Yeah, I think that specifically is, again, it's really awesome how they thought some stuff through, like especially in the invite side of things, even though I don't necessarily think that the Twitter stuff is the greatest. I think it's nice to have it there. Mm-hmm. It's just specifically the voice side of things where I wonder if people aren't going to use it, and my instant feeling is no.
Yeah, that's sort of my gut feeling as well. Is like, I think people will try it out for a little bit, and then like almost immediately come to the same conclusion that we had.
Yeah. And also another thing with private battles, if you are spectating, because you can have two people spectating during a private battle, those are cut off as well from the rest of the team, so they will be all by themselves just figuring out camera angles, I suppose.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be two people. You can have two people commentating or I guess talking to each other about the battle as it's going on, getting the proper angles or viewing those certain things, which I guess is fine, but it also kind of sucks because if you're all by yourself and spectating, well, you're just sort of sitting there in silence watching a match. That's just, I don't know, it just feels off to me, especially when it's just a private match.
Yeah, at the same time, maybe you could give the other team an advantage, and maybe that's also not really a smart idea.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, if you could talk like that, you could give the other team an advantage, and it's like, I get the concept behind it, but it still feels like spectating is a little lonely.
I wish also maybe this is maybe something for the future, that I would add an option where you can just stay together in a singular room.
Maybe. That wouldn't be a bad
because
idea.
if you're just playing for fun, who cares about strategies, you know?
Yeah.
You just want to play together and have a good time.
Yeah, and when I think of private battles, it's usually just having fun with friends. Like, who cares about like really in-depth stuff unless you're like training for esports type things.
Yeah, but because in that specific area, a private battle, you can naturally train yourself up better or play into people who are super competitive in a very early sense. Mm-hmm. But the other side of it is that people are just goofing off and do whatever. Mm-hmm. So in those specific instances, I don't necessarily need TeamSpeak.
Yeah, it's like I said, that's for me the advantage of it would be using it for online battles and like the normal online battles. But again, that could maybe Nintendo thinks you'll have too much of an edge if you do it in that way, which is why it might be relegated to just League battles and Salmon Run, where it doesn't quite matter as much. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, Nintendo could still improve this. We could get updates where they get a better idea of it. Maybe it'll work better in other games where the concept's just a little bit I don't know, more solid or something like that. But for right now, I'm probably not going to be using this much for Splatoon.
I will likely be using the SplatNet side of things, but the invite stuff with the voice chat, it's nice how you connect it through like Splatoon 2. It has a nice clean option with the online launch. But like the voice chat itself, there are so many better ways out there in 2017.
Yep. So, alright, well, then, yeah, I think that covers it for our Switch app discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Don, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter, which is at Nintendaan, that's Nintendaan. You can find links to all of the stuff that I do right there.
Alright, cool. And of course, be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on the Switch and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.